Another devastating record at our southern border. Immigrant encounters, illegal migrant encounters in March, topping 221,000. That marks the highest number seen since President Biden took office, and that is a 34% increase from February alone, just from the prior month. This as 23 known or suspected terrorists were caught at the southern border in 2021, spread across several points of entry. Joining me now is New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. He's a member of the House Homeland Security and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees. Congressman Van Drew, your reaction to these new numbers?
Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize if you have open borders and if you're even going to liberalize and open everything up more by not having Title 42, we haven't seen anything yet, as well as rapidly expediting people back. We talk about Title 42, and it's important to speak about that. But also, there is a policy that was in place under the Trump administration that if you caught somebody as they came in, you could rapidly expedite returning them. So you didn't have to go through the courts and all the systems and spend all the money and literally have them here for weeks, months, or years, or forever sometimes. We haven't seen nothing yet. They are going to create a situation for us in America that is going to be devastating.
Congressman Van Drew, talking to your constituents, do they understand how dire the situation is, being not, far and possibly removed from the crisis at our southern border?
They do, because what many of them do realize are these people are being spread all over the country. Many of these flights take place in the evenings, and we don't even know where they all are. We don't know their backgrounds very often. We know that some of them are criminals, some of them are sick, some of them are bringing fentanyl in, some of them are abusing women and children who are also involved. Because they're being dragged over. They realize it. You know what people realize? They realize at every level, and I'm not trying to digress, but whether it is as far as law enforcement, as far as wokeifying our military, as far as our supply chain, as far as, what's going on with energy, our country is just being devastated by the worst administration and the worst president that literally has ever existed in America.
In terms of Title 42, is it possible, mentioned earlier, there is legislation, it is a bipartisan bill that is was signed on to by Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. There are 5 Democratic co-sponsors on the bipartisan bill, including Mark Kelly and Maggie Hassan, both senators, both up for re-election. Also, a fellow Congressman, Henry Cuellar, who's from a Texas border district, became the 6th House Democrat to declare support for a bipartisan bill to block the end of Title 42 without some other border enforcement in place. The Wall Street Journal editorial page writing about this over the weekend. But Speaker Nancy Pelosi will not let that bill come to the House floor for a vote. Will that change? But this is a clear sign that this is a political problem for the Democrats come November.
Oh, it's a big political problem, and that's why, I'm glad they're doing this now, but they should have done it much sooner. I hear about moderate Democrats, I respect them, but not really, because, they're not doing anything. They're talking the talk, but nothing's really happening, though. They've got to put real pressure on their leadership, and not just because an election is coming, because hopefully they love their country and they don't want their country to be devastated. What's interesting about all this? Title 42 was supposedly there for COVID and actually, cut the numbers way back and was very helpful. And yet at the same time, they're saying, well, COVID's not really a problem anymore. We don't need it. But then in certain, liberal Democratic cities, they're reinstating the masks. In certain areas, they're going forward with other COVID plans, and it ends up that they think it is a problem. Like in airports, they won't take the masks away. So is it a problem or not, COVID? Do we need the restrictions or not? I know we need them at the border regardless, because we're not checking these people. We need to check so much more carefully at the border. I want folks to understand, they can't catch all the bad people. We're letting bad people in this country that are going to do harm. Frankly, I don't blame Governor Abbott for what he's doing. He's doing the right thing. You ought to keep busing him to Washington so Washington can figure out exactly what's going on and what the problems are really that exist in our country. And they also ought to take him to Delaware. They ought to take a few busloads right to President Biden's house and drop him off on his porch. He won't go to the border. Let's bring the damn border to him.
I want to, before you go, we've heard from New York City Mayor Eric Adams blaming woke progressive policies for the city's soaring crime rates. Listen to this, Congressman.
Major mistakes made throughout the years that destroyed the trust that the police commissioner is talking about. We have to rebuild that trust, but we can't rebuild that trust by allowing those who are dangerous and that have a repeated history of violence to continue to be on our streets.
Part of the progressive left, their ideas are to end the carceral system, which means getting rid of prisons.
Well, they've started that. I mean, here in New Jersey, our governor has opened the prisons up, is letting people out. One of the prisons is being closed. It's awful. I mean, when you look what happened in Brooklyn. This individual had 9 priors in New York, 3 priors in New Jersey. And we're surprised something happened? Are you kidding me? He should have never been out of prison. Some people shouldn't be out of prison or need to be there a long time. Let's face it, there are some bad people in this world, and we need to make sure to keep our good people, our good Americans safe. We've gone so far astray, we're worried about prisoners and those that are incarcerated much more than we're worrying about hardworking, good Americans. This is really sick. So many of these policies are sick. So many of them have to be changed. You know, they told us, I remember I was in the state Senate, and they said, oh, we have an algorithm, and we can figure out who can be let out and who can't, and everything will be just wonderful. And I wondered a lot about it then. I don't wonder about it anymore. We need real law and order. We need to go back to where we were. We need stop and frisk. We need to make sure our folks are safe.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew, thank you so much for being here always, sir.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
We'll see you soon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.